Hello, little dreamers. Welcome back to Realms of Possibility. Tonight, we're going to hear a special story about a woman named Hannah and her son, Samuel. This story is all about prayer, patience, and how God has amazing plans for each of us. So, snuggle up, and let's get started with this beautiful story from the Bible. In the land of Israel, there was a kind woman named Hannah. Every year, she and her husband would come to the temple to worship God. But even though she had a happy life, Hannah was very sad because she didn't have any children. She wanted a baby more than anything. One day, after everyone had finished their meals and celebrations, Hannah went to the temple alone. She poured out her heart to God in prayer. She said, "Dear God, please give me a son. If you do, I promise I will give him back to you to serve you for his whole life." Hannah was praying so quietly that her lips were moving, but no one could hear her. Eli, the priest, thought something was wrong and asked, "Why are you acting this way?"
I am not acting strange, I am just very sad and I am praying to God with all my heart.
Go in peace, and may God grant you what you have asked for.
Hannah felt much better after her prayer. She believed that God had heard her. She went back home and was no longer sad. Guess what happened, little dreamers? God answered Hannah's prayer. He blessed her with a beautiful baby boy and she named him Samuel, which means God has heard. Hannah was so grateful to God for her little boy. She knew in her heart that she had to keep her promise to God. But first, she wanted to enjoy a few years with Samuel before taking him back to the temple. When Samuel was old enough, Hannah knew it was time to fulfill her promise. She and her husband took Samuel to the temple in Shiloh. As they walked, Hannah remembered how much she had prayed for her son and how God had answered her.
My son, I prayed for you and God answered. Now it's time for you to live here in the temple and serve God.
Eli, the same priest who had seen Hannah praying years before, welcomed Samuel with open arms. Hannah and her husband offered a special sacrifice to thank God. They said their goodbyes, and though it was hard for Hannah to leave, she was filled with peace knowing that Samuel would serve God all his life. Little Samuel quickly got used to life in the temple. Every day, he helped Eli with the chores, lighting the lamps, sweeping the floors, and listening carefully to all the stories about God's love and his commandments.
Samuel, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work and always remember the importance of what we do here.
Thank you, Eli. I love learning about God and helping out in the temple.
Samuel was growing up to be a kind, obedient boy who loved to serve. But God had an even bigger plan for him, something Samuel didn't expect. In the middle of the night, Samuel heard someone call his name. "Samuel, Samuel."
Here I am, Eli. You called me.
I didn't call you, Samuel. Go back to bed.
After the second and third time, Eli realized it wasn't him calling Samuel. It was God.
Samuel, it is the Lord calling you. Next time you hear the voice, say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening."
Samuel nodded and returned to bed, lying still and listening carefully. Samuel answered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And God spoke to Samuel. He gave Samuel an important message to share with Eli and all of Israel. Samuel became God's special messenger. Even though he was young, God trusted Samuel to share his words with the people of Israel. Samuel grew up to be a wise and faithful prophet, always listening to God's voice. Little dreamers, just like Samuel, God has a special plan for each of us. If we listen carefully and trust him, he will guide us on an amazing journey. Remember, God hears our prayers just like he heard Hannah's, and he always loves to talk to us. If you enjoyed this beautiful story of Hannah, Samuel, and God's special call, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Share it with your friends and make sure to subscribe to Realms of Possibility for more wonderful Bible stories. Sweet dreams, little dreamers, and always remember that God is listening and loves you very much.